There we are.
Live. There you are.
A little technical
Live.
difficulties, but we're here. Good morning, everyone. We're live. Welcome to the Biz Chat with Lisa. Very glad you're here. Watching later, whenever. My guest this morning is Kamden Nute from Black Sheep. Welcome, Cam.
Hello. Thank you for
to get
having
into
me.
conversation with you. This episode is brought to you by Perfect Virtual Assistants, where we help you find real human Filipino virtual assistants to help you with back-end support so that you, as your business owner, can work on your business and not as much in your business. So, welcome, Cam.
Thank
How
you.
are you today?
I'm doing well. Better now that I'm here.
Good. We're going to have a good conversation. So, Cam is the owner of Black Sheep and founder of Black Sheep, which is a LinkedIn company. And he helps individuals, companies with their LinkedIn profile and everything that you have to do with LinkedIn, a done for you program. And he also has some educational stuff we're going to talk about. So we're going to get right into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into why you and how did you start Black Sheep. Give us a little bit of your background.
So I'm Cam, and let's see, a little bit about me. I don't know, I'm kind of a boring person outside of work. My whole life is building this business right now. So other than that,
I live. Do. That's what we do.
That's true. But I live out in the West Metro with my wife and my two black labs. Spend a lot of time at the park, at the lakes, doing all the fun things, especially during the summer. But I started Black Sheep in January of 25. Started it after I've been in kind of the marketing space since 2017. I started selling marketing services in 2017. And then started my own business in 2019, more of a marketing consultancy type business where I was doing a lot of Facebook ads, Google ads, email marketing, a lot of that kind of fun digital marketing stuff. Was doing that for a few years and kind of got burnt out. In retrospect, I can see how I built that business a little differently than I would have. And I think as you grow and as you learn, especially as an entrepreneur and a business owner, you learn things that you should have done differently or that you wish you would have done differently. And I think I look back on that first business and just recognize that.
That's what we do. We learn.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't take the lessons from mistakes or decisions, what's the point? So now you've been better.
Absolutely. And so in 2023, one of my marketing clients was a credit card processing company, and had gotten kind of close with that client, the owner, and he was talking to me and said, why don't you keep doing our marketing, but come try to sell credit card processing. And at the time, I was really kind of gung-ho on wanting to get more into sales. I was gotten really good at selling the marketing services for myself, but I didn't want to be so bogged down by the fulfillment. So this whole selling credit card processing, you just sell it once and you get the ongoing commission, sounded pretty nice. But I learned very quickly that that was not an area that I thrived in. So I did that for about a year. And ended up just walking away from it. Got kind of screwed over a little bit by the brokerage, so was in a little bit of a pinch in January of 25. Had to figure out what I wanted to do. It was kind of funny because the business name Black Sheep had almost been coming to me before I actually started the business. And then when everything happened with the credit card processing company and I had to scramble, I had the business name. I was like, okay, what am I going to do with it? I had been a hobby photographer for 15 plus years. And so Black Sheep started as a photography business. Again, just scrambling, figuring out like how I was going to make some money. And so started with photography, and then it kind of went into personal branding photography. And then once I started doing personal branding photography, I had recognized that there was more of a need for personal branding, right? So there's, which is where LinkedIn came into play. So personal branding on LinkedIn includes photos, but it also includes content, and it also includes strategy. So in probably April of 25, I transitioned from just photography over into kind of the done for you LinkedIn management, and started to kind of brand myself in that way as the done for you LinkedIn guy, if you will, right? And so since then, it's been a lot of learning, pivoting, and adjusting. But the business has been going now for about a year and a half, and we're still learning. We're still thriving. We're still going.
You're still going. And how, first of all, I want you to tell the story. How did Black Sheep, the name, come from?
I think just that's kind of been my behind the scenes motto for my whole life, is that I've always kind of felt like the odd guy, oddball out, whether it was in school as a kid, or just in family events. Just always kind of felt like that, the black sheep a little bit. And for a long time, I felt shame around that. But then I feel like finally, when I started the business and kind of doing that, was my way of saying like, okay, I am different, but I'm gonna accept it, acknowledge it, and build from it. So the whole idea of Black Sheep is different is good, different is beautiful. And that's what I'm hoping to accomplish with myself, right? Keeping that reminder for myself, but also for my clients and other people I work with.
I love that story. I've been part of that story. I didn't hear the whole story before. Okay. All right. So you do done for you LinkedIn services for people who want to do want you to do the content, the commenting, and all of that kind of stuff. Yep. But you also now have something else that you're working on. I know you specifically want to work with realtors, brokerages, insurance companies, and what was the other one you said?
Mortgage.
And mortgages. And you're going to be doing some education around that. And so why don't you talk about your back room?
Sure. So I'll talk first about kind of the done for you, and then kind of dwindled down into how it kind of started. So like I said, in April of last year, kind of figuring out and coining this term of done for you LinkedIn management and figuring out what that means, right? So a lot of people just go on LinkedIn and think, oh, I can just post content and I'm going to get something out of my LinkedIn. At the end of the day, LinkedIn is a social platform, yes, but it's also a platform that business owners or professionals are going to try and earn business. So it's different in a sense that it is more focused on B2B, but there's also B2C opportunity on there. So when I first started doing done for you, I had to figure out like, what is the missing piece? And the missing piece for a lot of people was, I don't know the strategy behind LinkedIn. I don't know how to use LinkedIn effectively or efficiently. Like, how do I do this? So I started to kind of do some education around that and some also services, right? So yes, content is important, but also like, how are you building to your network? How are you gaining in your network? How are you finding your ideal client profile, and how are you targeting them through your content, right? There's that piece, but then there's also, how are you expanding your reach? How are you making sure that your content is getting reached by the right people? How are you engaging with them? How are you nurturing that relationship once you connect with them, right? So there's the front end of LinkedIn, which is content, commenting, all those things, right? But there's the back end of LinkedIn, which is the strategy of how to actually make it effective and get in front of the right people that are going to bring you business or send you a referral, whatever it is. So that's the done for you. And then kind of started to do that, but recognize that not everybody needed the complete done for you, right? Some people know social media, they know LinkedIn, they know how to post, they know how to write content. So they needed more of a do-it-yourself with support. So from there, they started offering two different tiers, which was the done for you management and then the do-it-yourself, which is basically kind of like my coaching offer that I have, right? Where you can write your content, you can do everything yourself, but you have a call with me every month to kind of keep you accountable on things, but also ask any questions or just give you a refresher on how to make the most out of the content and the activity that you're doing on LinkedIn. So go ahead.
So with this program, people will do their own, and then they can meet with you once a month and you'll go over their content with them. You'll look at their page and guide them and coach them around that.
The do-it-yourself is basically you write your content, you're doing your engagement. I'm giving you, so we hop on a call for an hour every month. I'm giving you in-depth training on strategy. Those clients also have access to send me their posts, right? So what we can do, AI is obviously a big thing. I'm not trying to stop my clients from using AI. What I usually tell clients is find a way to use AI to supplement what you're doing and support what you're doing, not be you. So a lot of my clients will write something up with their post with AI. They'll send it to me and I will revise and edit how I would write it. And then they can actually plug that back into Claude or ChatGPT, whatever they're using, and train it that way, right? So I'm helping them train their Claude, train their AI to be used in a way that sounds like them, right? So basically, they're writing their content, but I'm helping them to make it sound like them, make it sound not AI, and then also helping them learn how to use strategy to really tie it all together.
Great.
But so I ran with that for a while, and then just as of recently have done more of a transition into, I guess the lesson or the problem that came up that caused me to transition and make this transition was scalability. I started to get business, which is great, and I've been loving it, but it's gone down to time, right? When I'm offering the done for you services, that's a lot of manual time that goes into the commenting and the engagement and the messaging. LinkedIn is a platform that does not want you to use third-party tools. In fact, if you are familiar with two big tools, Shield and Taplio are two big ones that recently got shut down by LinkedIn.
Can you talk about what that is? Because I have no idea what those are.
Third-party and Taplio are third-party, sorry, Shield and Taplio are third-party tools that you can plug into your LinkedIn to help you with automation. So they can help you send out connection requests, messaging, engagement. It's basically a third-party automation tool that works through LinkedIn.
Okay.
LinkedIn, though, is very, 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 I guess, picky on third parties that they allow into the API. So when you integrate with a platform, you have API integration, and LinkedIn does not have open API, which means it's very hard to integrate third party into that, right? So like when you think about how you integrate, for example, you can integrate your Claude into your Canva account, right? And you can have your Claude create a graphic in Canva because there's open API.
That.
Yes, you can. There's open API, right? Whereas LinkedIn to a third-party tool, it's harder to connect them because there's not open API. Anyway, so those two tools got shut down, and so what that means for me though is when I do the done for you management, is it's literally all manual tasks. A lot of it is manual tasks, and there are a few things that I will automate, and I'm not completely against automation or AI with it, but you have to be very careful. And especially when I'm handling other clients' accounts, I have to be very, very careful.
Right.
So when it got down to kind of scalability of, okay, I've now got clients coming in the door that want this done for you, I'm again bogged down by fulfillment, right? So I'm going back to my issue that I was having 2021, 2022 of getting bogged down by fulfillment. So then there's been this figuring out phase
I do have to say, you know how we can resolve that though. With
virtual assistant. Perfect virtual assistant, right? And there's your plug right there.
Right.
But so it's just trying to figure it out, and in the last few months, I've felt this pull to really go more towards an education model, and just doing more of that. Like I have always kind of wanted to be able to do public speaking or presentations or workshops, stuff like that. So finally trying to find space for that. So I recently started the Black Sheep Back Room, which if you're familiar with Alex Hormozi or the school platform, SKOOL is what it's called. And basically Alex Hormozi created School as a platform that can help you create an online community, right? And so what I'm trying to do with the Black Sheep Back Room is create an online community for real estate professionals, brokers, agents, insurance brokers, agents, and mortgage lenders. And the idea behind this community is that you can join the community and you can get access to the weekly newsletters, which are going to educate the heck out of you. That is one promise that I make. You also get access to the discussion boards, right? So there's discussion boards, there's like profile feedback, post feedback, strategy questions. So if you're in this community, which you're paying as little as $25 a month to be in, you can go onto the discussion board and say, hey, I just updated my profile. Can you give me feedback? As the community grows, there's going to be community feedback, right? So you're going to get feedback from the others around you, but I'm also in there multiple times a day giving you my feedback, right? So then you have a post, hey, Cam, I have this post going out scheduled for tomorrow. Can you give me some feedback? I can come in there and say, hey, maybe change your hook, maybe change the way you're saying this, and give you that feedback so that when you're posting it, it's going to perform better. Right, so that's the lower tier of the community, which gets you the access to the discussion boards and the weekly newsletters. From there, you can go up to the middle tier, which is $197 a month, and that gets you access to the courses that I have built out. So there's 6 different courses, basically taking you from profile creation to content to engagement, strategy. There's 2 other ones, right? But basically walks you through start to finish how to build out your profile, build your network, write content, do all the things that you need to do to turn your LinkedIn into a lead generation tool. And then from there, there's a bunch of different options once you get into the back room, right? So if you wanted a one-time profile audit, you can do that. If you wanted to get, a 90-day content plan, there's that option too. So there's a lot of different things in the Black Sheep back room, but the idea of it right now is to educate. So that's the model that I'm wanting to go more towards. And what that means for me is I'm still offering the done for you management, but I'm working towards hiring out a team that can do that for me so that I can continue to grow the business. Because right now it's the done for you and it's Cam is right here. And I need to be out here growing and expanding and doing all those things.
That is the entrepreneurial thing. You're the visionary. You need other people to be doing that for you. Yes. So
yes. So and then also go ahead.
You didn't mention yet about the monthly classes that you were doing. Are you still doing those?
So I am the LinkedIn Lab. I was doing those.
The LinkedIn Lab.
I had done those. I had planned for a 12-month series for LinkedIn Lab this year. However, decided to pull those in June as a part of this new model, and I'm now offering it as a 4-week-long cohort. So every month there will be a new LinkedIn Lab cohort that will be 4 weeks long, and it's kind of an intensive training. So for an hour each week, the cohort will log in and we'll go through the training, and that will be the new LinkedIn Lab.
I like it. Okay. Yeah. Boy, you're making some changes. Well, I'm glad that my VA, Camille, was able to sit in on pretty much all of your LinkedIn Labs.
I hope she learned a lot.
LinkedIn. Yeah. But, well, I think this is awesome. I think it's great. Is there anything else that you want to share with our audience? Anything about yourself? I have a question for you. So you've gone through a lot of transition, right? And as we do when we're entrepreneurs, we start something, an idea takes us another direction. It works. Sometimes it doesn't. Then we have to shift. And you've been shifting, which is great. What's your biggest lesson from all of this? You're a year and a half in. You kind of got pushed into a situation where you didn't know you were going to quit your job. And all of a sudden.
Oh, that's a good question. I think my first lesson is listen to your gut. I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have, I don't know, listen to your gut, but also
intuition. You've always got to listen to your gut because your body tells you.
Yeah. And also being able to adapt, being able to listen or acknowledge feedback. Feedback doesn't always come in words. Feedback can can also come in like things that are working, things that are not working, things that are more difficult than they should be. Right? So I'm always kind of staying aware of feedback, whether it's like how I feel about something, how something is landing in the world, how I'm, what people are telling me. I think that's been my biggest accelerator and lesson, is being open and acknowledging the feedback when it comes in.
So what's the best feedback you've gotten? Or the most challenging feedback?
I think honestly the feedback, I guess what I think of feedback, so maybe this is weird, but I think of feedback is kind of like an energy, right? Like when I'm building this business and I'm saying, okay, this is going to work really well. And in my head, I have this convinced that I can build, a complete done for you LinkedIn business, right? That was in April of last year. But then listening to the feedback and the energy of like, okay, this is landing, but this isn't, right? So then I had to go to do it yourself with support. So then I adapted and I changed and I updated to, okay, you can hire me just as your coach. But then I ran with those two, and it was listening to the feedback and the energy of like, okay, I'm putting this out there, but there's still more that's not being answered. There's still friction. There's still services that, I don't know. So just listening. I don't know if that makes sense.
I call it, well, I have a bunch of different things because I'm a believer in the law of attraction and how things come to you.
Yeah.
And when we're trying to kind of swim upstream instead of going with the flow, trying to create something that really isn't the best, but yet we push through it, even though like we're not listening to our gut, our intuition, and it's saying don't do this, but it's like a good idea or whatever.
And those two things kind of go together, right? Like listening to your gut and also listening to feedback. As you're saying that, it's like you kind of get the same thing. You kind of get both at the same time, right? When you're doing something, it's like, okay, this doesn't feel right, but in my head, it should be what I'm doing, right?
Yeah. So you gotta balance what you're listening to. Your head, your heart, your gut, all of it. That is the good lesson for today. So the lesson is intuition. And follow. Yeah, we try to. I do it all the time with my two businesses. Trying to do something, and I'm getting much better at it. More going with the flow and seeing what works. But
I'm big into, and I think this drives my wife crazy, but like I will let things come to me. I do not want to rush things. I will let them, like if I'm unsure about something, I'll sit on it. I'll sit until it feels right or until it feels wrong. And every time that I sit on something, the answer comes.
The answer comes. Do you meditate? Do you get quiet to do that or anything? Like some people will be, okay, I don't. Some people call it prayer. Some people call it meditation. Whatever it is. I think that's smart. I think it's really smart because a lot of people jump into decisions.
It's come with time. I used to be very much more impulsive than I am now, but I've learned.
Good.
Lessons, right?
Lessons. We all have lessons. All right, Cam, we are at time. Thank you so much for being on the show. We are going to have, if you are interested in talking with Cam, getting more information, we're going to have all of the information in the comments in a little while and how you can get in touch with Cam. But why don't you tell people right now, how can they get in touch with you if they are interested in your services?
First, you should probably just find me on LinkedIn under Kamden Nute, my full name. Otherwise, you can send me an email at cam@blkshepco.com.
Awesome. I will see you again, my friend.
Thank you.
All right. We are going to say goodbye. Have a great day, everybody.
See you guys later. Bye.